Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to do a little running back ranking video. We've done this a couple times this offseason, but things change. Achane's value just went up with the Jonnu Smith trade, or did it? We'll find out. We'll rank it together. I give you, in Wild Wild West style,
Well, I'm your Huckleberry.
the 2025 running backs. The fantasy football show begins right now.
Well, I'm your Huckleberry.
Ladies and gentlemen, running back number one is an easy call. This is the best card you could get dealt in 2025 at the RB position. Why? Come on. Do I really need to spell it out? Penix Jr., 2 touchdowns in every single one of the last 3 weeks with Penix Jr. under center. This is an offense that opens up so much because of Penix Jr.'s ability to knife through defenses and be mobile. You will not see the same defensive fronts ever again facing Bijan. Bijan faced 8-man front after 8-man front when Kirk Cousins, who didn't throw a single touchdown pass in 4 straight games before he got benched by the damn Falcons, who smartly drafted Penix Jr. like your boy said to do. Your boy said Penix Jr. would be a top 10 overall pick, and he sure was, and he looks fantastic. London looks amazing. Kyle Pitts might get rejuvenated. Mooney will do well. The Falcons drafted 2 edge rushers, something people complained about the year prior when they drafted Penix Jr. Every single piece of this team has improved or stayed the same. And when I say stayed the same, I mean in a good way. There is zero red flags for Bijan Robinson. There are 0 new problematic situations that arise. Every angle of analyzing Bijan Robinson has nothing but either improved or stayed amazingly the same. This guy could rush for 20 touchdowns. This guy could have easily 2,000 plus total yards. There's just no debate. This prototypical between the tackle monster is going to not only contend with the rushing title, but could score the most touchdowns overall for running backs in 2025. Not to mention, he might be the most talented pass catching back in the entire National Football League. This guy could catch 80 footballs if you wanted to. This guy could pull in 4 to 5 receiving touchdowns, maybe 5 to 6 receiving touchdowns. This guy could have 500 plus receiving yards, but he's certainly going to have, if he stays healthy, over 2,000 total yards and a real strong shot at the rushing title. The best hand you could hold is one with Bijan Robinson in said hand. Bijan, you're number one, baby.
You've just been Smitty approved.
All right, running back number 2. This doesn't need to take long. Jahmyr Gibbs. Why are we still talking about Monty? Why? What do you anti-Gibbs people have against Gibbs? Is it because you just want to be right about something you were so wrong about? It's but when Monty's in there, Monty played 14, 15 games last year. Stop with the Monty garbage. This was in most formats the running back number 1 overall last year, Jahmyr Gibbs. Enough of Monty. Monty's irrelevant. Monty has nothing to do with Jahmyr Gibbs. Nothing. 0. Because he's going to be injured, miss a handful of games every year. And if Monty got safely abducted by aliens, they would have somebody else step in his stead to take the volume that we don't want Gibbs to get anyway, at least not to a 17-game type of situation. Gibbs is going to the moon no matter what you say or how much doubt you want to cast on him because of David Montgomery. David Montgomery? Are we really doing this? Monty's irrelevant. He's a good standalone player. I like him as an RB3 flex play. That's a whole different conversation. He has nothing to do with Jahmyr Gibbs' rise. And with Ben Johnson out and this team probably looking a little iffy passing the ball this year, yeah, you heard me, kind of a little bit of a concern for everybody across the board except for Jahmyr Gibbs. I think they run a little more than normal. I think Gibbs is the safe one in this Lions offense as they potentially have some bumps in the road. Not saying they don't win the division, but they might crawl to the division win versus dominate along the way. This will be an up and down, obstacles in the road, trying to figure out the absence of Ben Johnson. And I think they figure it out to the tune of, like I said, crawling into a division win, but they're going to crawl. And they're going to crawl. They're going to hand the ball off. It's going to go through Gibbs. Gibbs easily my running back to 2025.
You've just been Smitty approved.
This is not the easiest call. This is one of those things where you want to put Barkley here. You really, really do. And I do think that from a technical perspective, you could easily put him here. Easily. But I think he gets injured. You can like that, not like that. You can think I'm crazy. You can say, you can't predict injuries. Yeah, I can. I did, and I will. And I'll continue to. I'm putting Jeanty number 3. I think he ends up being the 3rd best fantasy football running back. Actually, God, this is tough. I'm going to make this a tie between Achane and Jeanty. I don't like doing ties, but sometimes ties need to be on the table to just let you know that if this was like a situation where I'm given 2 leagues side by side, I'm going to split it. I'm not going to take Jeanty in both of those leagues. Like, I might take Ja'Marr Chase number 1 and number 1 if I have 2 side-by-side leagues. I just might do that. I'm not saying I will, for sure would. I do love Lamb a lot. Lamb could be quietly the number 2 or the number 1 wide receiver this year. But I think in this situation, I'm taking Jeanty in one, I'm taking Achane in another. I'll probably say that. I like it this way. Let's go Jeanty, Achane tie. Achane's going to get more work, more dump offs, more solid carries with Jalen Wright likely to take on more of that old-time Mostert role, all that up-the-gut stuff that we don't want Achane even getting handed, right? Because those are typically those 2 to 3 yard carries every single time you get them. They're just kind of trying to keep the defense honest, kind of say, hey, we'll punch you in the mouth. You don't want Achane getting those. You want Achane getting the work that got him 7.8 yards per carry his rookie year, which is the best yards per carry average in the history of the NFL. That's the work we want heading toward Achane in 2025. I'm going to say Jeanty, Achane tied. Jeanty's going to get fed like a monster. You can doubt Jeanty all you want. You can say things about the Raiders being a bad team, but you don't know what you're talking about. Tell me you don't know ball without telling me you don't know ball. When you say things like the Raiders are this, or last year the Raiders did this, the Raiders are a completely different team. Having Jeanty alone changes how the offensive line produces, changes how the passing attack is going to move the football, matriculate the football down the field. Not to mention you got Geno Smith, which I don't think he's the best quarterback in the world, but he's efficient, and he's a different quarterback from last year. So how are we talking about last year? How are we talking about last year when Jeanty's new, Geno's new, you've got Thornton Jr. in there that could go crazy once he's in there. You got a new head coach, a new system. Everything is different, and people are saying last year, Smitty, last year doesn't matter. This might not be the most exciting team to a lot of people on paper, but Bowers and Jeanty are going to make this offense pretty damn exciting. And the Raiders might actually grab one of the 3 wild card spots and head to the playoffs and knock teams out like the Pittsburgh Steelers and knock them out of contention for a playoff spot. Everybody acting like the Raiders aren't a potential 1 or 2 playoff winning team are out of their minds. I'm not saying it's a lock. I'm saying it's on the table. It's in the cards. No pun intended. Jeanty going to the moon. He'll have plenty of space to run. Stop talking about an offensive line that you're judging based on last year with no help at all. Of course the offensive line produced like crap last year. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't move the football. You got Jeanty. You now have an efficient, not amazing, not elite, but a very good Geno. You got a new system, a new potential star wide receiver. And if you don't like Thornton Jr., you got Besh and you got Jacoby Myers still. There's still some good talent that can catch the damn ball. This is going to be an efficient year for Jeanty. Jeanty could easily run for over 1,400 yards as a rookie. Easily rush over 12, 13, 14, 15 touchdowns as a rookie. You heard me right. Rush over that amount. Pull in another 2, 3 receiving touchdowns. This could be a 16, 17 rookie TD season for Jeanty. Achane, a lot of what I just said about Jeanty, say it about Achane. His situation, it's not the best when you lean on Tua or you look at it from like a Tua perspective, but at the same time, how many running backs succeed in bad situations? We saw it happen last year with Achane himself. And there's tons of opportunities for him to grab maybe 70 to 80 receptions this year. So if you play in non-PPR, who plays in non-PPR? Your grandma? We don't play in non-PPR. We play at least 0.5 PPR or full PPR. He's going to be a monster, a top 5 lock because he's pulling in 70 plus receptions on a bad season. So Achane's going to the mother freaking moon. Now, before you crap your pants right now on my show and say, what are you doing, Smitty's Barkley next? Where's Barkley? I'm going to put someone in front of Barkley right here because, again, I already told you I'm not feeling good about the 430 carries and the 470 plus total touches that Barkley took on in 2024. I'm not excited about it at all. Now he's on the Madden cover as well. You could say that that's crazy talk, Smitty. You're going to lower a guy because of the Madden cover. No, I'm just merely telling you when you make the Madden cover, it's because you've been overutilized. And everybody wants to see you on the Madden cover because this is the biggest name, the most utilized player in the game. That's why the Madden cover usually is a curse. They identify somebody that was leaned on so heavily that everybody wants to see him on the Madden cover, and it makes sense to put him on the Madden cover. Barkley on the Madden cover, I don't like it, but for a lot of other reasons. But I don't like Barkley at number 3, 4, 2, 1 overall because he carried the ball 430 plus times. There's a carry curse called the 371 carry curse that's taken out more running backs than it's let go through, okay? And it doesn't take them out for 1 year. Like, oh, you have 371 carries plus, you're going to have a bad year next year. No, your career ends. It's a career-ending curse. I'm not saying he doesn't have a good season. I'm not even going to tell you that Barkley doesn't have a good week 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe the first 2 months of football. Think Mixon last year. Mixon was a top 1 to 5 running back for 10 straight weeks. Then he plummeted, fell off the face of the earth and ruined your season. If you had him in there and you couldn't take him out, you kept throwing him out there saying, well, he was so good, how do I sit him? And your whole season tanked. Barkley could be very similar. 10 amazing weeks and then leave you hanging. So you can draft him and trade him away before double-digit weeks. That would be the smartest avenue if you're going to go down the Barkley path. I admit, I'm going to draft him in a decent amount of best ball drafts where you got other players that can step up, right? And be this year's version of last year's Bucky Irving to take over if he does miss 4 or 5 games. And maybe he misses 4 or 5 games in the middle of the year and then comes back on a tear. That's also possible as well. Barkley's very injury prone, and the Eagles lost their offensive coordinator. They're probably going to either lean more heavily on Barkley, even though they say they want to be more balanced. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to revert back, lean on Barkley. Barkley's going to get abused, and he's probably going to get injured at some point. It's just not a very likely scenario that a 430 plus carry back from one season goes into the next year and it maintains all the way through that next year. Especially if they give him the same kind of work, which again, I think they'll have to do because I don't know how losing Kellen Moore is going to have this already struggling passing attack. It struggled all year last year. A.J. Brown was reading books on the sideline. It was so bad. And that wasn't a good thing, by the way. That everybody made that out to be such a fun little endeavor. Oh, A.J. Brown's so cute reading a book on the sideline. I would have benched him for a game for that. That's garbage. Garbage. But there's troubled waters in that passing room. Hurts didn't look good throwing the ball. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl. Good job. He's a good leader. He's a good runner. No, he's not a good runner. He's an elite runner. He's an elite runner and a mediocre passer. And while that can still make for a top 4 fantasy football quarterback, there's a lot of worries and concerns about losing a coordinator, an offensive coordinator coming off of a bad passing year. And you're going to try and balance this offense out a little more? Concerns me. For me, I'm going Bucky Irving at this spot right here. You could almost even put Bucky tied with Jeanty, Achane, and Bucky in a 3-way tie. This is a top 1 to 5 potential running back. Every single running back on the board right here, including Barkley, has a top 1 to 5 running back upside and ceiling. You heard me right. Bucky could finish as number 1. Achane could finish as number 1. Jeanty could finish as number 1. Of course, Gibbs and Bijan could as well. Gibbs and Bijan have a little bit more likelihood of finishing number 1, but the range of outcomes for Jeanty, Achane, and Bucky certainly belong inside the top 1 to 5, not just top 5. Throw some damn respect on these guys. Bucky coming off an amazing year. Stop. What am I doing? What am I even doing? What am I doing here? I went on my show and talked about Bucky at 8 p.m. after I pre-recorded the ranking video you just saw. I haven't posted it until right now, so the Bucky top 3 running back 8 p.m. Eastern show just aired before this video aired this morning. And I'm making this as a splice in. We're coming in hard. We're coming in hot. We're staying loose. We're staying liquid. And I'm making myself take a lap. And this is why. Let me show you why I did the Bucky Irving top 3 running back video last night and made myself right now take a lap. And I need to correct the record for this morning's video. Let me splice in. This channel wasn't created so we can play safe football. Play it safe, cookie cutter, copy paste, not be bold, hold back on the things that we bring, the thunder we bring to the table. We're not here to tiptoe around everything, just tippy-toe around everything. Oh, everybody says Barkley has to be number 3 or 2, or you're crazy to have Bucky over Henry and Barkley, Smitty. But I literally am making myself take a lap, because why am I holding back? Why am I holding back at all? This man could be RB1. He could be RB1. This quote coming from head coach Todd Bowles months ago, by the way. He has a skill you can't teach. Talking about Bucky. He can make people miss in the hole. He's aggressive. He's tough. And recently, just as of days ago, talked about how he didn't come into the season as the starter, which we know that. He didn't get unleashed until week 13. But then he said his footwork was a problem. I didn't notice. but the greater part about the quote was that he cleaned up his footwork. His footwork looks amazing. He's running more precise. He's got purpose. He's not making extra moves and steps and wasting energy. He's cleaned up his game. That's scary. If Bucky cleaned up his game, what's in store for Bucky 2025? I'll tell you, top 3 running back numbers is in store for Bucky Irving, top 25. Let's go.
Get Buckied. 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 Oh, Bucky.
This board is one of the most beautiful collection of numbers and statistics and flux capacitors and algorithmic equations and such. This guy was, let me preface all of this by saying he was the 41st running back in running back snap percentage of his team. He was the 41st ranked running back. That means he was barely used until the end of the year. Barely used until the end of the season. And to show you exactly what I'm talking about, this is his game log. So in week 1, he did very little. He did great, 6.8 a carry, 7 carries, 9 carries, 10 carries. Look what happens when you give him 10 carries. Touchdown, 4.9 a pop. 9 carries, 14 carries. Look what happens when you give him 14 carries, 81 and a touch, 5.79 a pop. 9 carries, 7 carries. Okay, 13. Right before the bye week, this is double-digit weeks, 13 carries. 5.62 a pop, 73 yards and a touchdown. Now we're cooking. Bye week, 12 carries. Why are we not giving him more work here? 88, 7.3 a pop, a touchdown. Boom, 25 carries, 152 and a touch. Injury, but he did come back the next game. 15 carries, 117. 16 carries, 68 and a touch. 20 carries, 113. 19 carries, 89 and a touch. Usage in the playoffs when it counts the most. The amount of trust that you got to have in a running back when you give the ball. This guy is remarkable when you take all of that into consideration. Yards after contact per attempt, the man was number 1 in the National Football League. In probably one of the most interesting points I could even discuss would be this right here. He cleaned up his footwork. he cleaned up his footwork, and the man was number 1 in the league in yards after contact per attempt. What in the hell does that mean? You're telling me Bucky's gonna get better? I don't know if I believe you. He's already so amazing. How could he get better? He's number 1 in yards after contact per attempt. If he gets better, He's going to be maybe the running back number one. This is insane. These numbers are so crazy when you take into consideration he didn't get starter touches till week 13. Forced missed tackles, number 4. Yards per carry, 4th. Now, some of these stats, look, you got number 41 rank snap percentage, and you're talking about per attempt. Okay. You want numbers that are rock solid numbers that a player that doesn't start until week 13 shouldn't have? How about 12th in fantasy points? How about yards per route run, number 6? How about red zone targets, 10th in the league? How about rushing yards, 10th in the league? Didn't start till week 13. How about 20-plus yard runs, number 8? How about 30-plus yard runs, number 3? How about 7th and 40, 6th and 50? This guy, it seems like this is taking candy from a baby. There aren't as many doubters around our Bucky Irving prediction and hopes and aspirations as there was Achane last year and the year prior. There's not as much pushback on this one as our Kyren prediction, our Kyren rise. I would say JD5, while people will have foggy memories about how much pushback there was on JD5, I would say this is still less pushback than the JD5 situation. We've called a lot, but there's still enough doubters out there that this guy's sitting in the middle of the second round, sometimes late second round, and that's just laughable to me. This is a elite running back. This is a guy that could be the number 1 overall fantasy football running back. This is a fantastic crew right here. Barkley will put here by default and out of principle. And even if, like I said, you draft him and then trade him by double-digit weeks, he's still going to easily earn top 5 running back value through the games he plays. And as I mentioned, I don't want to hear somebody coming in week 1 or week 2 thinking you got me. Oh, Smitty, and Barkley looks really bad, doesn't he? I'm telling you. You're not telling me. I'm telling you Barkley's going to look good in week 1. No one's suggesting Barkley looked bad coming out of the year or Henry looked bad coming out of the year. The concerns with Henry and Barkley lie in when will they give out, not will they look good in week 1 or the first month or maybe 2 months of football. So you just stop right there. That's why Barkley's still here. And we get to the next running back ranking. This one's going to be tough, ladies and gentlemen. This one's going to be tough. Some of you want Henry here. I don't blame you. And I understand it. For the same reason Barkley's here, we could put Henry here by default and just say, look, he showed no signs of slowing down really at the end of the year. So Barkley and Henry both will come out firing on all cylinders. Again, you have nothing on this show in week 1 if they both blow up. We're telling you that Barkley and Henry will probably look the part. Now there's a chance that there's a higher risk that they get injured right away, or maybe there is a slowdown early on. There's a higher risk for that because they're older players with a lot of mileage in the 430 carries that Barkley had, but there's still a higher likelihood that they blow up for at least a month or 2 than come out of the gate slow, right? But they're still by default going to rank there. But I'm quietly liking other running backs more in terms of like a cost of entry or a trade or having a conversation about moving down and trying to get a different player. Now, I think Kyren Williams needs to be in this conversation. And honestly, Kyren deserves to be right here with these guys. I want to put a little bit of a 3-way tie right here. And I only, again, continue to do the tie type of stuff because it's important to make sure you know, push comes to shove, if you believe Kyren stays healthy, then he is a sneakier back, and not at the cost of entry because Henry and Barkley go so much higher, but maybe you're going wide receiver where you're going to maybe draft Henry or Barkley. You go wide receiver, you go Lamb, you go JJ, you go Neighbors, you go whatever, and then you get Kyren later because I'm literally telling you that I think Kyren can outscore Henry and Barkley if they can't stay healthy. So Kyren deserves to be in this situation right here. I'm scrolling through the RBs. I'm trying to find who's going to be my next player to throw up on this board. And I'll be honest, there's so many good players. I mean, I'm not going to put him here, but like JT, I realize a lot of people want JT. Where's JT? I think I put JT somewhere. JT's right there. He was hiding. JT is on the board to be talked about, but he's not somebody I'm ranking here. Let's move down and make some room here. Gibbs over here, Jeanty right here, Achane here, Bucky right there, Kyren and Barkley and Henry. Let's move these gentlemen over. So JT needs to be in the discussion right now. I'm not saying I'm going to rank him next. I'm just telling you he's in this conversation. We need to pull, let's see. We need to pull over Christian McCaffrey, even though he's not going to be next. I'm going to put the guys that are up for debate right here on the screen. Kamara, not yet. Harvey, definitely need Harvey in the mix for this conversation. You can yell at me all you want. Breece Hall, definitely need Breece Hall in this conversation. You can get mad at Breece Hall all you want. I really don't care. Breece Hall over here. James Cook, not yet. Chase Brown needs to be in this conversation, no doubt about it. That's really good for right now. For this conversation right here, right now. Who are we missing? We're missing somebody. Hampton, maybe? All right, Hampton needs to be in this conversation as well. Hendy needs to be in this conversation as well. So Hendy, Hampton, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, JT. I think, honestly, next for me, Breece Hall's got to be in the mix. He's got top 5 potential. Chase Brown has top 5 to 7 running back potential. I love these guys. Henderson and Hampton, maybe a tad later. Harvey, I love Harvey. Maybe Harvey right here. CMC, I want nothing to do with. You can say what you want about me having JT too low, but there's a lot to be worried about with JT's situation and his offense, and they're just not going to get near the red zone. He's probably going to get hurt. They're going to lean on him too much, and it's just not going to work out the way people think it's going to with that offense. Hall, Chase Brown, and I'm going to get bold and crazy and say Harvey in some sort of like 3-way tie here because they're all very arguable and very close. I think, McCaffrey and JT for principle's sake, we could put maybe in this territory here where they're in the same bucket as Hampton and Henderson. And if we look at any other RBs, Kamara deserves to be, I guess, considered right here. We've got Jacobs that needs to be in this conversation. Where's my Jacobs card? Jacobs needs to be in this conversation. I do believe Jacobs is not in the Hall, Brown, and Harvey bucket. I believe Jacobs is in this McCaffrey, Henderson, Hampton bucket. And while, in Dynasty, Henderson moves up with Harvey and the boys, and Henry and Barkley drop back, and Henderson and Harvey probably move even right next to Kyren, and Breece Hall, I think, still is in that group. Chase Brown's in that group. In redraft, because I believe Henderson and Hampton are a tiny bit more timeshare feeling right now, and I don't think that'll stay that way all year. Just in the initial week, initial month, maybe we're starting to figure out what their role is going to be. Najee's kind of in the way. I think he gets moved aside. I think Hampton outperforms him greatly. So I think Hampton eventually plays in this group right here, the Hall, Brown, Harvey. But like you could set him right here. Hendy, same thing. I think he plays this well all year once he gets going. And he's the best pass protecting back in the draft class. So he will grab that spot quickly. So we'll put him right here. Jacobs, you can get mad all you want. JT owners, you can get mad all you want. McCaffrey owners, you can get mad all you want. This is how I see it finishing. This is not how I'm telling you to draft. This is not how I'm telling you to go out and unveil your second and third round and draft Harvey and Hampton over Jacobs. It's not the way it works. JT's a second rounder. This is not a show about what you should be drafting in what exact order. This is me trying to predict how things finish. This is me trying to get in my bag and say, at the end of the day, you're going to want Chase Brown over Jacobs and Taylor. You're going to want Hall and Harvey over Jacobs, Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. And you're going to want to draft smartly and figure out ways to manipulate this ADP data that's going to hand you these gifts of players that are going to be playing far above the value of the guys going ahead of them. This is kind of how I see it. How many running backs we got on the board? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Top 16 running backs. Who are we missing? I've got Kenneth Walker, Kamara, Chuba Hubbard, James Cook. James Cook, Smitty, I'm a James Cook owner. I'm very pissed off at you right now. I don't trust James Cook right now. James Cook was not even a top 10 running back. You take away his touchdowns. He didn't play as a top 10 running back on any level. other than the saturation of touchdowns. I don't want him. Walker's always injured. I love him. You know I love Walker. I'm not putting him here. I'm taking standalone Sharps. Chuba deserves to probably be maybe in the conversation of the next running back we list. Judkins could climb up, most certainly. Man, no Mixon, get out of here. Kamara for a little while, but then he falls off. This feels like the top 15 right here. I feel like we got the top 15 covered, and we're going to piss off a lot of Jacobs, McCaffrey, and JT fans and owners. Dynasty owners on JT are going to be so upset. They're going to be so upset, but I got to tell you how I see it. I got to call it like I see it, and this is how I see it. Ladies and gentlemen, come back for the wide receiver edition, the Wild Wild West poker edition, ranking style. In the meantime, don't forget to get on over to my Patreon. $10 a month charges, it's like a cup of coffee. $10 a month, 24/7 live chat group. Your boy lives on the live chat over there on the Patreon. If you want non-stop 24/7 convo, and it's about the group. It's not, hey, Smitty, answer all my questions. It's about the group. Hey, chat, what do you think? And the chat chimes in. I chime in. We all chime in and help each other. It's an amazing place to hang out 24/7. The Patreon, patreon.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Link is in the description of the video. I'm live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday. I'm additionally live whenever big news breaks. I'm additionally live most every single midnight Eastern graveyard show, after dark show. Join me there.